Let's go! Mamma mia! Yahoo! Ow, 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 ow!
In the past, I've covered a few Nintendo titles exclusively for my Dark Aspects series, including the Legend of Zelda and Earthbound franchises. These were prime candidates for review, both notably rated E for everyone by the USRB, with the exception of the ports and remakes to follow. I mention this because I feel mature themes and exploration of somber storytelling in an otherwise kid-friendly environment is one of the most intriguing directions a form of media can take. This game isn't by Nintendo, it isn't rated E, but I thought it'd be worthy of looking at still because this title seems rather innocent in its presentation, if one dismisses the fact that the core of the game involves kissing strangers. If you're not sure what this game is, I implore you to watch my analysis video covering the title before delving into this one. Just because I've analyzed the bulk of Chulip doesn't mean I'm done covering its story. The game leaves plenty more to delve into than what I've already discussed. When I last analyzed Chulip, I had brought up NPCs and events that would be right at home in this video, including Miss Zombie Mika and her poignant story, a trial the main character must endure to prove his worth, and an overall theme of finding happiness while watching and ultimately saving those otherwise in despair. I will be covering everything in this video that I hadn't in the one preceding it. So if you've seen it before or simply want a condensed list of the tenebrous themes worth mentioning, I will begin with an eerie resident of Long Life Town named Michelle. Chulip starts with the main character moving into town to start his life, albeit poor, hence the nickname Poor Boy. One of the very first characters the player will see is a rather plain, in a world where super deformed heads is considered normal, woman named Michelle. She looks untroublesome, but speaking with her will suggest otherwise. While interacting with this lady, her closing dialogue is laughing, followed by an incredibly high-pitched noise, camera panning into her now glaring face as she stares, eyes completely white at the screen. This all happens in a second, and will occur repeatedly if you talk to her. Later on in the game, this will even happen at certain times of the day the player can catch if they happen to walk past her, as she stops what she's doing to aggressively consume whatever it is in the pot she carries around with her. I first dismissed these hints because, well, they were terrifying, but learned to put the pieces together in my playthrough of the game when I attempted to kiss her. Michelle has a secret link to her odd behavior revealed later on in the game. Sneaking into her backyard at night, the player is able to uncover a pot buried underground. Upon removing the seal, smoke bellows out that contains the essence of harsh words Michelle had shouted into the vessel before hiding it, revealing her hatred for the main character and expectations of how to change her opinion. The only way to make her like Poor Boy is for the player to plant and harvest a good eggplant, then gifting the vegetable to Michelle during her revealing of the nightly breakdown. This moment occurs after 10 PM and visiting her prompts revelation to the player that she's actually in a cult which forces her to consume things she doesn't like. This causes Michelle to have an array of negative feelings she clearly hides and lets build up throughout the day, only to take them out in one short burst when she finally gets home. After having Poor Boy dodge a barrage of pots and pans being thrown at him, giving Michelle her favorite produce makes her realize that she should quit the complaint pot cult so she can enjoy what she wants without outside influence. Next is Dr. Dandy. He is the other NPC you will first see in this game and partakes in some questionable practices. The man diagnoses everyone with the names of real-world diseases or personality traits spelled backwards, as evidenced by his own insomnia worded as animosity, and Michelle's tendency to clean the town all day as G-ninalk. This is perhaps implying that he's dyslexic, or just very tired as he doesn't sleep at night. What does he do instead of relaxing in bed, you may ask? He changes form to an evil version of himself and wanders the streets at night asking anyone in sight for blood donations, while holding a ridiculously oversized syringe as he stops occasionally to bellow a rather maniacal laugh. Anybody unfortunate enough to pass by this man will be prompted to answer his question of what their blood type is. Anything other than a type O response will result in Dr. Dandy forcibly stabbing them with his needle, extracting their blood, and then proceeding to drink it himself. Very disturbing indeed, but like any NPC in the game, he can be helped in exchange for a kiss. If the player mixes the correct combination of ingredients and crafts a medication able to cure the bloodthirsty doctor, He will thank you for your hard work and return to the hospital to get some much needed sleep. Did I mention in order to give him the medicine, the player must allow poor boy's blood to be drawn? This ensures everyone intending to complete Chulip in its entirety must willingly initiate this horrific event of vampiric quality. Speaking of the in-game doctor leads me to my next point, which is the people that live underneath the ground. These folk are known simply as underground residents, as they are there for the player to kiss after learning what makes them viva, which translates to a moment of happiness. Perhaps the most bizarre resident in the game lives right underneath Dr. Danny's place of work, the hospital in Long Life Town. This person isn't a patient, rather a man that pursues dressing up in a latex gimp suit with chains and hangs from the ceiling. His saying of the day is, "Painful and challenging but feels good." And apparently his favorite hobby is baseball.
Hobby? Baseball.
I don't know.
Must not be very good at it.
I don't know.
The oddities don't stop there, as there are plenty of underground residents scattered throughout the town, all with their own catchphrases or sayings of the day. They are found by peering into small holes in the ground and only come out during specific periods of the day. Most of them are relatively normal, having themes like an artist or a burglar. However, no matter the resident, each time poor boy looks into one of these cracks, he's greeted with a sound effect that sounds as if it was ripped from a horror movie, and must listen to their saying of the day through whispers. These residents range from a parody character of Godzilla, a man dressed as a tin sign advertisement, and as stated in my previous video, a man named Retired Bucket, who rolls around woefully professing his insignificance to society. Retired Bucket's real-life equivalent would be a sad case of a depressed individual, a heavy topic to portray in a seemingly light-hearted game about winning over a love interest. Speaking of this, the game explores the theme of finding one's happiness in many ways, including the major plotline involving unfulfilled teachers, and an area of the game where many factory workers are unhappy with their profession and regret choosing their set career path in life. This is all majorly relatable to a vast majority of the population, as many, including myself, are attempting to find what makes themselves truly happy. Internal sadness and feelings of melancholy are all dangerous, stress-inducing emotions that unfortunately inhibit quite a lot of people to this day, and it's a common theme explored quite well in the story of Chulip. Next, I'd like to focus on the father of the girl poor boy is attempting to win over, because his severe case of alcoholism is the center of disarray in the family. If the player enters the large pipe located at the vacant lot where poor boy's love interest is inside, speaking with her prompts revelation that she has run away from home and now sleeps here without any intention of returning. The reason for this is hatred toward her parents for constantly fighting, a situation now resting on the shoulders of poor boy to help resolve their troubles and put an end to the couple's bickering. Visiting Julie, the mother's, bar, which doubles as the family's living area, at the appropriate time will result in a showcase of their argumentative ways, and quickly turns to an unlawful event when Goro throws a bottle of booze at his wife, leading to his imprisonment beneath the graveyard. Julie becomes noticeably depressed after this occurrence and vows to forgive her husband and all he is upon his return. You, as the player, must now get poor boy arrested in order to free Goro and reunite the unconventional pair. This leads me to my last case of the game being rather dark, which focuses on the rather non-intimidating yet scary looking policeman. He has an abnormally large head even compared to other NPCs and requires a strange assortment of actions in succession to be able to kiss him. First of all, he wants to arrest someone. He becomes notably happy when Goro is thrown in prison and will give the player a goodbye kiss when sent to the jail underneath the graveyard. This occurs when achieving 3 strikes against the law, including smoking cigarettes, the main character is a minor, purchased by a snack shop by the police station, stealing an important item from Julie, and streaking after hours in the streets of Long Life Town. This is accomplished by going to Leo the tea maker's house and sneaking out by tiptoeing past Leo while the main character is undressed. Another odd quirk is that if your character is found wandering the streets after the town's curfew, he'll actually pull out his gun and start shooting at poor boy, regardless of his intent. With certain underground residents only emerging from their homes during the early morning hours, the player will have to stealthily avoid the nighttime law-enforcing terror to receive their kisses. With all this stated, I wish to note that I'm happy this game takes the darker approach to storytelling and tends to lean more towards the weighty subjects and coverage, as it gives the game leverage in having a lasting impact towards its audience for being remembered in history for more than its humor. As weird as some of the situations Chulip finds itself in, the game never loses its effect and execution by finding new and interesting ways to explore its many heavy in nature themes. Looking past the ridiculousness of some of these characters' predicaments and actions, like Retired Bucket, by recognizing the validity and realness of their problems are essential in an understanding that the game really is effective in conveying its messages. This is reason why Chulip has been so impressive and memorable to me, ensuring my fandom for this title in the years to come.